Hey guys, welcome to our YouTube channel, Corner Tigers. I'm here with my brother. How are you, bro?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. What's the time there?
It's quite early in the morning here. I suppose it's late in the night for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty late, man. Pretty late. But I'm gonna go straight into this, because I want to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think of
Sure.
Pakistan's lackluster performance versus Netherlands? In my opinion, anyway.
Well, a lot of people don't consider it lackluster, do they? A lot of Pakistan fans are seeing sort of some false dawns and they think that, okay, it's a sort of resounding win and stuff. But uh, 81 run victory against Netherlands, with all due respect, that's shocking. And we can look at the context of how shocking this is. So I'm just looking at the top order. Uh, 40 for three inside. How many overs was it? 40 for three inside 9.1 overs. 38 for three is when Saud Shakil walked in. And to only post 286 on that wicket, well below par. The batting looks shocking. There's no depth in the batting. There's not enough talent in the batting. There's not enough impetus. Yeah, so I think, especially from a batting point of view, we can come onto the bowling as well. I think it was very substandard.
Yeah, I think I have a sort of similar opinion. I think we can take a few positives though, can't we? Like Saud Shakil, we saw a good performance from him versus the spinning options. Sort of what do you think of that? Like,
Absolutely.
do you think that's a good something to take
Well,
note of?
absolutely. I've said it for so long. Obviously, Saud Shakil's got a fantastic test record since he started. So on these slow, low pitches, he's been really good.
Mhm.
He started off really well in the England Test series. I think he's got the record for the most consecutive 50s in Test cricket as well. Obviously, we can go into the fact that it's much easier in today's era to score runs, but that would be a separate discussion. But he's doing really
Yeah.
well. Clearly, for me, looks like the best player of spin in the team. Uh, he looks like a natural number five. I think number four is definitely too high for him. He has to bat five. He has to bat five. He can't bat six either because you sort of need a finisher with the hitting power to bat at six. Saud Shakil's one weakness, I would say, is lack of hitting ability. He's not really known to be a big six hitter. If you look at the amount of sixes he's actually hit in his career, it's quite minimal. But that's an observation. It's not as much a criticism. I feel that he's someone that can accumulate and still score at a good pace despite not having massive big six hitting ability. He seems fairly technically correct. He's composed, and he's one of the few batsmen who looks like a proper batsman in this lineup. So you definitely need him in the middle order. He can be the glue in that middle order, and obviously with the combinations, the matchups, the left-right combination is really important. You've got to get him in there at five.
To be honest, I think the lack of six hitting ability is sort of wide across our team. I don't think anyone really, apart from Iftikhar, of course, are big six hitters. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see many, even Barber and Rizwan. I think they need to sort of get going first, and then they can sort of hit the odd few six here and there later on in their innings. So yeah, I think that's a problem across the board, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I
that's
mean,
true.
yeah,
I mean, that's true. With Iftikhar, without a doubt, he can clear any boundary. He can hit 100 to 120 meters with ease, without a shadow of a doubt. But the problem with Iftikhar is way too high in the order. He's not in ODI number six.
yeah,
Don't go by the averages. There's no way that he should be batting at six in ODIs. What if the score is cricket is all about psychology? If you walk in say 17.1 overs and you're 105 for three as Saud Shakib, the next thing you're thinking is you've got Iftikhar coming in next, who is literally sort of a block or blast player. He's not really going to accumulate in innings. He's not going to really be able to construct innings. He's not. He's not a great player of spin. He's not a good player of spin either. He can definitely belt the spinners out of the park. We've seen him do that to Ravichandran Ashwin in the T20 World Cup as well. He can hit the medium paces, but cricket's about matchups. He's not really a great player of pace or spin. So really, number six, without a shadow of a doubt, is way too high for him in the order. He has to bat seven. And for
yeah,
him to bat seven, it would be a different discussion in terms of how shocking some of the selections have been, which may mean that he's not really in the position to bat seven.
Yeah, maybe we need to bring back my favorite Asif Ali for the six hitting ability. I think that's a separate discussion altogether.
Absolutely. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That shouldn't be the case. I mean, Arcevelli no doubt can hit long really well, but he's not a particularly good fielder.
Yeah,
He
that's a
doesn't bowl part-time. He doesn't bowl part-time spin or anything like that either.
yeah,
And he's not a specialist batsman. You know,
that's
in a
a
team
that's
with a
a
lot of bits and pieces of cricketers,
yeah,
you
that's a separate
can't
discussion.
use.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
yeah.
Now, going back to this sort of match, let's have a look through this now. Let's just dissect where things have gone wrong in this sort of total of 286, which is being sort of celebrated, even, you know. So obviously we started off really poorly. We were 38 for three, I believe, um, which against the Netherlands, to be fair to Netherlands, their strength is their fielding and their bowling. You know, they're not the worst of bowling lineups. You know, they've got sort of, they've got bowlers that can even sort of in ODI cricket hit mid 80s and stuff. So we have to give a little bit of respect in that regard. And these things do happen and stuff. It's more, but what we mustn't do is pollute the issue. You know, a lot of Pakistan fans are saying, "Oh, we're playing 90s cricket or we're living in the old times and stuff." It's not that we're playing 90s cricket. If we could play like the 90s cricketers, we'd be posting 370 against Netherlands. That's the reality. You know,
Yeah.
with these heavy bats, with these short boundaries, with two new balls from both ends. If two guys get in, you can easily put on 150 without taking risks in 22 overs, for example. The problem is, you look at a batting order. Fakhar Zaman, Imam Lag, Babar Azam at three, Rizwan, Babar Azam at three, Rizwan at four, Saad Shakil at five is what should be that should be the combination. But Imam ul Haq has no tempo to his game, unfortunately. He's got a strike rate over the early 80s. So really, that's a problem. And he got out to sort of a fairly average shot. I think he was trying to pull, and Fakhar Zaman is completely out of form. He's got major technical issues, which he realistically can't overcome. He has got for this era match-winning ability when he gets in. There's no doubt about it. But he needs a lot of things going his way. He needs the wicket to be flat, really flat. He can definitely belt the spinners out of the park, but he can't work them around. So it's only unless he gets in it's a problem. So
I
you've
think
got two openers
yeah,
there who are yeah,
I think he needs a few fluky shots at the start, just to get himself in, and not get out. And then he sort of builds up some confidence, gets into the 20s and 30s, and then he can sort of go on. But
yeah,
but when he doesn't get those runs at the to begin with, he just seems like a walking wicket. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie.
absolutely. And the better bowlers will work him out. So he's pretty decent square of the wicket. I'll definitely give him that. But if you've got sort of if you've got a good pace bowler that's moving it away from him, he's going to be in big trouble. Jasprit Bumrah is very good at that. The way he can move the ball both ways and the way he slants it away from the left-handers will get Fakhar Zaman into all sorts of problems early on, and it will also cause Imam Ulaq massive problems too. But so that opening combination is a massive, massive problem. Normally you've got two left-handers. Fine, it's not a left-right combination. That should kind of be a positive in terms of the sort of right arm fast bowlers, in terms of the angles and stuff. That should be an advantage, but it's not. These the problem we've got here is that the tempo's not there from Imam Haq. He doesn't have enough scoring shots.
Yeah,
Never mind the average of 50 in ODI cricket. That means nothing. If you
yeah,
look closely at the types of teams that those have been scored against, whether it's Australia, like a B or C team, it's just like when it really matters, you have to look at not just the statistics, you have to look at can these players actually score runs off a good ball? That's our problem. Our problem is not mindset to the extent that people seem to be thinking. That's not our problem. Our problem is a lack of talent, and we
yeah,
mustn't pollute that issue. Most of our
yeah,
batsmen cannot hit good balls for four. The Pakistan batsmen of old could hit good balls for four in multiple positions. Inzamam ul Haq
yeah.
could hit a good ball for four on the offside, and that very same ball he could hit on the leg side.
Yeah,
So this is our
completely.
problem.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Especially, I mean, it's in a different time. I mean, you watched Inzamam in his heyday. I didn't really get to watch him. But yeah, from the clips you've shown me in the past, it definitely does seem that way, and with other batsmen as well. But again, those are like tangents. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so you've commented on the batting. What do you think of the
I'll just
bowling?
add one final point about the batting, right? So obviously we
Yeah,
had a really, we have to look at the positives. So they have a really good recovery with Rizwan and Shakil.
yeah,
Unfortunately, these things do happen where Shakil got out to a poor shot, but he batted really well. He was playing some really lovely, crisp shots against the spinners and he begins against the pace bowlers. He was a bit struggling very early on in his innings. But I'm not so happy about Rizwan sweeping first ball and being applauded about that at 40 for three when you've got Iftikhar and like the sort of all rounders to come after that. There's one thing showing intent, but if you get out, then you've got to have a bit more game awareness of that. Yes, you want to show intent. Yes, you want to put the opposition on the back foot, but you have to understand the strengths and limitations of your own team. And this Pakistan batting lineup is brittle to say the least.
uh,
So it's almost
yeah,
relying on little handy contributions and one guy getting it going big to post a good total. And let's be honest, a good total doesn't look like 300, 320 early on in the tournament. You almost feel like you may need more than that, to defend it because you 300, 320 looks very, very easily chaseable
yeah,
nowadays and on these wickets at this moment in time of the tournament.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the batting was problematic. One other thing I will say about the batting is that Shadab and Nawaz, they didn't bat well. I don't agree with that at all. I mean,
I was
if you
just
look at
gonna. I
Shadab,
was one sec. I was just gonna say. Sorry to interrupt, but I was just gonna say about Shadab. It's good that you mentioned it. I was I was so annoyed when I saw him try and hit that slog sweep, which he did manage to hit a six flukily, right? And it didn't get caught at the boundary, luckily, right? And he just about
the
timed it
matchup
enough.
was good. I think
It.
the matchup was good there because it was the off spinner was on, the ball was spinning into him, short boundary on the leg side, 65 meters. So you can argue that. But when you're 200 something for six, with just a
I
little bit
said
of
to
hit,
you,
yeah,
I said to
yeah,
you
absolutely.
that Shadab and Nawaz are in there. They have to make the team bat the 50 overs, right? We have to bat the 50 overs, and if we bat the 50 overs with at least one of them seeing us through the line, right? Then we will get to 300 plus easily, right?
That's right.
Um, easily we would have got to 320, 330 if one of them had just
Perhaps.
seen us through, potentially, right? And
Yeah, well, I mean, once Shakir and Rizwan got out, to be fair, we went on course for 320, but we could have got up to 300. If we
yeah,
batted the 50 overs, we could have definitely got up to close to 300 or 300. In
yeah,
fact,
but
after
yeah,
Shadab and Nawaz
exactly.
got out, it actually required quite a bit of an effort for the others to even get us up to 286 and 49 overs.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, I mean Shadab, that was you have to have the ability to understand that you have to understand what is a good innings and what isn't a good innings. I'll tell you why that's not a good innings because the types of balls that they were hitting club cricketers could hit those, like for four or work them around. They were that easy, the balls they were hitting. You have to be able to identify against better opposition. They're not going to get these frees. Nawaz is most likely going to be playing and missing at those sort of good balls. And same with Shadab, especially against pace. So Shadab is way too high in the order. Shadab at seven and Nawaz at eight. People think, oh, that's depth. It's not depth because when it really matters, Nawaz can't hit. Shadab struggles to hit. You know, um, just about cleared it on 65-meter boundary. I don't know what it was. Like, so they're not natural hitters of the